gruesome discovery. Suffice it to say for the present that the unfortunate woman was lying on her face, with the lower portion of her body on the small grass-covered embankment, and her head, arms, and shoulders sunk in the slime of the stagnant water just below. It was Timothy Coleman, one of the under-gardeners at Ash Court, who first made this appalling discovery. He had crossed the rustic bridge and traversed the little island in its entirety when he noticed something blue lying half in and half out of the water beyond. Timothy is a stolid, unemotional kind of yokel, and once having ascertained that the object was a woman's body in a blue dress with white facings, he quietly stooped and tried to lift it out of the mud. But here even his stolidity gave way at the terrible sight which was revealed before him. That the woman, whoever she might be, had been brutally murdered was obvious, her dress in front being stained with blood. But what was so awful that it even turned old Timothy sick with horror was that, owing to the head, arms, and shoulders having apparently been in the slime for some time, they were in an advanced state of decomposition. Well, whatever was necessary was immediately done, of course. Coleman went to get assistance from the lodge, and soon the police were on the scene and had removed the unfortunate victim's remains to the small local police station. 90 is a sleepy, out-of-the-way village, situated some 7 miles from Canterbury and 4 from Sandwich. Soon everyone in the place had heard that a terrible murder had been committed in the village, and all the details were already freely discussed at the Green Man. To begin with, everyone said that though the body itself might be practically unrecognizable, the bright blue serge dress with the white facings was unmistakable, as were the pearl and ruby ring and the red leather purse found by Inspector Measures close to the murdered woman's hand. Within 2 hours of Timothy Coleman's gruesome find, the identity of the unfortunate victim was firmly established as that of Mary Nichols, who lived with her sister Susan at 2 Elm Cottages, in 90 Lane, almost opposite Ash Court. It was also known that when the police called at that address, they found the place locked and apparently uninhabited. Mrs. Hooker, who lived at No. 1 next door, explained to Inspector Measures that Susan and Mary Nichols had left home about a fortnight ago, and that she had not seen them since. "It'll be a fortnight tomorrow," she said. "I was just inside my own front door a-calling to the cat to come in. It was past 7 o'clock, and as dark a night as you ever did see. You could hardly see your hand before your eyes, and there was a nasty damp drizzle coming from everywhere. Susan and Mary came out of their cottage. I couldn't rightly see Susan, but I heard Mary's voice quite distinct. She says, 'We'll have to hurry,' she says. I, thinking they might be going to do some shopping in the village, calls out to them that I just heard the church clock strike 7, and that being Thursday and early closing, they'd find all the shops shut at 90. But they took no notice and walked off towards the village, and that's the last I ever seed of them two." Further questioning among the village folk brought forth many curious details. It seems that Mary Nichols was a very flighty young woman, about whom there had already been quite a good deal of scandal, whilst Susan, on the other hand, who was very sober and steady in her conduct, had chafed considerably under her younger sister's questionable reputation, and, according to Mrs. Hooker, many were the bitter quarrels which occurred between the two girls. These quarrels, it seems, had been especially violent within the last year, whenever Mr. Lionel Lydgate called at the cottage. He was a London gentleman, it appears, a young man about town, it afterwards transpired, but he frequently stayed at Canterbury, where he had some friends, and on those occasions he would come over to 90 in his smart dog-cart and take Mary out for drives. Mr. Lydgate is brother to Lord Edbrook, the multimillionaire, who was the recipient of birthday honours last year. His lordship resides at Edbrook Castle, but he and his brother Lionel had rented Ash Court once or twice, as both were keen golfers, and Sandwich links are very close by. Lord Edbrook, I may add, is a married man. Mr. Lionel Lydgate, on the other hand, is just engaged to Miss Marbury, daughter of one of the canons of Canterbury. No wonder, therefore, that Susan Nichols strongly objected to her sister's name being still coupled with that of a young man far above her in station, who, moreover, was about to marry a young lady in his own rank of life. But Mary seemed not to care. She was a young woman who only liked fun and pleasure, and she shrugged her shoulders at public opinion, even though there were ugly rumours anent the parentage of a little baby girl whom she herself has placed under the care of Mrs. Williams, a widow who lived in a somewhat isolated cottage on the Canterbury road.